Hello and welcome to Unit 3 of Week 4 of the online result-based monitoring and evaluation course delivered by Cloneshouse, Nigeria. Um, it's been interesting to see how this week is playing out with all your comments and your suggestions on the previous units. Please keep the comments questions and suggestions coming. Will be interesting to have some charts on it, especially on some parts that time cannot even permit us to share with you. We think that the comment box in the classroom is very, very important and key for this course. I mean, for you to have gotten more value from this course. So please keep your comments and suggestions coming on the unit comment box, and we'll be happy to share more ideas and throw more light on some of the things that we're trying to figure out, and also to know that this is a profession that is still growing and quite recent, and also that new methodologies are coming up as things proceed, as things get much more heavy in the profession. So please let's have those comments, and thanks a lot for having yours. So this is unit 3.0. Yeah, I mean, we've been able to introduce ourselves to evaluation, looking at in unit 1, where we looked at the types of evaluation, the purpose, different purposes for evaluation, and also criteria, which is evaluation questions. In unit 2, we've been able to discuss largely about different types of evaluation designs, and maybe it would be nice to also mention that I mean, we shared with you about five evaluation designs. You will see in some literatures, and I mean, we've shared those literatures with you. You could get up to like 10. So I mean, these are different types that have evolved even much more than those that we're sharing with you. So, but that's the basics. So it's important to state that at this point. So, and I mean, largely we discussed the experimental design, the quasi-experimental design, and the non-experimental design. In this unit, we will be focusing on what exactly happens um, during the lifetime of an evaluation. So this is evaluation. Now, note that we're not talking about monitoring actually, but focusing largely on evaluation. What happens? So, what are the three phases that we've been able to identify in the lifetime of an evaluation? Now, and especially also would be nice to mention that this might largely apply to ex post evaluation or outcome evaluation, or what you refer to as impact evaluation. Um, so I mean, and also formative evaluation in some way. So, but let's dive into it. We expect that in this course, yes, you should be able to explain the different phases of an evaluation, and also identify some challenges and needs during some of these phases, and also be able to explain, yes, what's the role of the commissioner in a particular phase, and what's not the role of the commissioner in the phase. So in essence, the role of the evaluator and the role of the commissioner in each of the phases. So in some few minutes, we'll be discussing with you the planning phase of an evaluation, the implementation phase of an evaluation, and the utilization phase of an evaluation. So the like three phases of evaluation that you can have, but I mean, depending on the type of evaluation, this changes across across the type of evaluation you're actually executing. So it's important to also note that. So this is not actually the standard. So it's not necessarily the standard, but it's a basis for you to think about what happens in an evaluation. So in the planning phase is when evaluation is being initiated. So what you normally see is the commissioner trying to put together a request for proposal, right? So which is an RFP, which states what the evaluation is about, what the thoughts of the commissioner is supposed to be. We've discussed what a commissioner is in Unit 2 of the course. So, like, who conducts evaluation? So the commissioner here is the one trying to draft the request for proposal, and the request for proposal definitely will contain, yes, the introduction, the introduction, which includes the objective of the program or the project or the policy, and yes, give a brief overview of what has happened in the program, the duration of the program, and they will now move on to why they need evaluation, the type of evaluation that is needed, the objective of the evaluation. Yes, in some cases they tell you about the type of evaluation to be used as well, and also the criteria they are actually looking at, and also in the RFP they will talk about the object of the evaluation, which means the beneficiaries, those that are working, and those that will be the target for the evaluation. So in our classroom, actually, we have a terms of reference, or what you call the request for proposal guide on how commissioners can put together a request for proposal or terms of reference for an evaluation. So you can use this guideline as well in your own work, and that's useful. So why do the evaluation? What are we evaluating? How are we going to evaluate, and how will the evaluation be managed? So you can see, so this is an example. It's a guide which you can actually use, which the commissioner can use it. Also, I found this interesting that even the evaluator who is trying to write a proposal to submit for the request for proposal can also use this as well as a guide in putting together the proposal. It's very, very important and useful. So in the classroom you have access to that, so you can refer to it. So, and in return, when there's a request for proposal, then concept paper. So there's a concept paper is developed by the evaluator or the evaluation consulting team. It will be interesting to discuss evaluation consulting in week 5 of this course. We will discuss largely on how to put together how consulting really looks like in the profession of evaluation. So you put together the proposal. The evaluator puts together the proposal for evaluation. Yes, we have some proposals already in the classroom as well, which you can also take a look at. So we have some samples of proposals already that we'll put together in here, so you can think about how you can make use of some of them in the classroom. So yes, this so basically we will not discuss how to put together a proposal in this course, but we could give a guide. So there is a table of contents which is in the classroom as well, which you can take a look at on how to put together your proposal for submission for a request for proposal. And also there's a sample proposal, winning proposal that was submitted, which you can also take a look at as well. So part of the first steps in the planning phase is that, yes, the commissioner drafts a request for proposal, while the evaluator submits proposal to the commissioner based on the request for proposal. And remember, we said in Unit 3 that what's most important is the methodology, which is the design, evaluation design that is supposed to be used. So just to reiterate that. So, and I mean, yeah, I mean, so it's like you submitting actually a resume, right? So the commissioner is left to now figure out, look through a whole bunch of proposals and be able to evaluate them. Yes, I mean, you also, the commissioner also develops a guide for evaluating proposals. We have also included such kind of guide in the classroom, so you'll find it there as well on this unit, a guide for evaluating concept paper or proposal. So you have a guide there you can also take, because we know in this course we have commissioners and also which means people working for multilateral, bilateral agencies, and also on the other hand, evaluators that are also consultants working in a team, or individual consultants as well. So we try as much as possible to provide resources for both parties. So there's an evaluation of all the proposals and or concept paper that has been submitted. So I mean, the way some commissioners does is that to request for a concept paper, which is like a 3-pager, which focuses on methodology only, right? And the reason why that is done is that, yes, they don't want to read a 20-page or 15-page proposal, because they know they will go through a whole lot of proposal already. So it's better they focus on a concept note, which is a 2-pager on methodology only, and they can sift through that. Then afterwards, they will now request for proposal from those that have one of the best methodology, right? So that's a strategy, to not say you want to filter through a whole lot of proposal. So they will now contact those that have one of the best methodologies, then and focus on that. They'll tell them to submit proposals. So it could be in form of a request for proposal. It could be so the commissioner could actually do a request for proposal, or request for concept note, or a request for an expression of interest. Yes, so the expression of interest is also like a concept note anyways, but we will discuss largely about this in evaluation consulting, which is for the week 5 actually, on what is needed at one point in time, and how you can put together that as well. So that will be an interesting conversation for week 5. Yeah, so after evaluating, I mean, the commissioner will definitely want to, so after the proposal, the commissioner has seen some appropriate proposals. They might take 1, 2, 3 in a list, but you have the first one. They start negotiating based on what you have put it, what the evaluator has put on the budget. And don't forget that commissioners also have the budget for evaluation. So you start to negotiate on the bills, right? Which is actually one of the interesting part, anyways, because most times, I mean, the evaluating consulting firm, yes, has a higher budget at times, but their methodology is noteworthy, is awesome, is something to relate with, is foolproof, so they want to take them, so they will have to negotiate on the bills, and if everything goes well, yes, I mean, contract is being signed in a space of 2 to 3 weeks. You sign contracts and work begins. So what happens after the contract has been signed is that, yes, in the plan of the evaluator, yes, there's a plan for a kickoff meeting, right? where the evaluator is supposed to meet with the commissioner. And the essence of that meeting is to clarify what needs to be done, actually, because you've written the proposal or the concept, the evaluator has written the proposal or the concept notes. I call it from the blind eye, right? Like, you do not necessarily know what has gone on in the program. So you will need to clarify things like logistics, who is to be met, who can be reached. You wait for you need, in that meeting will be when you discuss information that you need as an evaluator from the commissioner. So and also who are the organization responsible and all that. So that's what the kickoff meeting is all about, and it allows you to now review the proposal you have put forward at first. So there will be another kind of agreement between the commissioner and the evaluator on what exactly needs to be done. So the plan is being reviewed, and immediately after the kickoff meeting, there is an inception report. The inception report will now clarify, for example, the data collection method, because you are hoping that that's the next phase in implementation, right? So how are we going to collect the data? Who are the unit we are going to collect the data from? What's the condition in which this unit will be? So in terms of the evaluation design, yes, just a little bit of review based on the evaluator now having a great information, a most useful information to go to the field and carry out the evaluation. And this is what happens all the time. It's like when you're writing the proposal, it's like, oh, we know we can reach A, B, C organization, but at the inception the kickoff meeting, which you can also call the inception meeting anyways, the commissioner tells you these people might not be available, but let's try A, B, and C. They might be available, and also, this is the little time we have for this. At one point, if you try this other one. So those kind of conversation comes, and all that will be put inside the inception report, like an agreement on what exactly is to be done in terms of your data collection plan, data analysis plan, who to interview, who not to interview, who are going to be part of those that you administer questionnaire to. So think about your data collection plan, which we did in week 2. Some of this will be tweaked. Also think about the evaluation design that we did in unit 2. Some of this will be revised, and now I don't not mean largely, but just a review of it. In the classroom, we already have a guideline for also the inception reports. You can make use of it, and also that the guideline there is actually from the International Labour Organization, so you can take a look at it. It takes the same template and format for every other organization as well. So it's important to note that some of these multilateral agencies actually have a guideline for their inception report. So also you can make use of the inception report we also have shared as well in the classroom. That would also be useful for you as well. So there's a tweak so the inception report carries the exact terms of reference going forward. So you are expected to submit that inception report after the meeting. Yes, after the kickoff or the inception meeting. So both the evaluator and the commissioner has a document, an agreed document to work with. So, and that actually closes the planning phase, right? But also that in some evaluation that you need to, so the evaluator needs to recruit enumerators, needs to recruit a national consultant and all that. at times this happens in this space as well. Like, yes, after the Inception Report, yes, or even before, yeah, I mean, after that, yes, I mean, you need to talk to hire some people in the in the country you might be working with. If it's a country level reporting evaluation, you hire enumerators in different regions as well. So it happens in this phase as well. But not to say that this also doesn't, depending on the type of evaluation you're carrying out. And also the purpose of the evaluation, you might also have recruitment, hiring, even at the implementation phase as well. It's possible. And yes, think about that kind of the purpose of evaluation that can allow you to have recruitment, I mean, like every year. So think about that. So implementation phase, 10 steps in. So this is a time where, yes, either the enumerators or the evaluator, whichever, in this course, I mean, enumerators are also referred to as evaluators, but I mean, there's the international consultant. Maybe most times there's the international consultant, there's the national consultant, which is in charge of things in the country where evaluation is supposed to take place. And also at times, yes, the national consultant will recruit enumerators in regions to do data collection and all. So um, yes, meetings and so so it is at this point you also the international consultant, national consultant does meetings with the beneficiaries. Beneficiaries in this sense means that yes, the implementing partners, and note that implementing partners can be national governments, ministries, departments, and agencies. It could be civil society organizations that are implementing programs. It could be state ministry departments that are actually implementing programs. So, I mean, this depends on the structure of the country that we're talking about. So, and also the structure that has been laid down for the implementation of the program, the project, or the policies. So, in essence, the evaluator does meetings with these people depending on the information that he needs, and he uses that to gather information, collect data that can be useful, and for his or her reporting as well. So yeah, I mean that kickstarts the implementation phase. Um, so most times, international consultants or national consultants, whichever one, we will talk about the relationship between all these people um, in in week 5, which looks at a consulting on its own in the M&E profession. So the evaluator communicates with the commissioner on preliminary information that he has gotten, feedback on meetings with key agencies in country. So there is that communication on where they are currently, and also that at every time the data collection is planned and data is collected, the consultant, the evaluator, actually communicates that to the commissioner, and it's a best practice. It's a good practice that helps your work. That yes, that communication is ongoing. Yes, we've been able to reach out to 20 schools or 20 primary health cares. We've gotten information, but however, we have some issues in this locality because we cannot reach it, or because they are not in session, or that. So I mean, this allows the commissioner, yes, to know, so we can help you reach this person. Perhaps they can give you the information, or you can meet with this other person. So I mean, things can be fixed in within, because you are communicating what's ongoing. So you do not wait till you finish implementation or your draft report. before that happens. It is very, very important. I mean, with some of the past evaluations we have conducted, we found this very, very useful. Even if that is not on an agreement, yes, because I mean, as a national consultant or an international consultant, yes, I found that in some cases, yes, communication might not be those might not be in the plan, like, oh, we need to do meetings, or if it's an online meeting, but we found it useful to put that as part of communicating with the commissioners and letting them know, oh, please, we need you. We need to get your feedback on A, B, and C, and all that, and also to inform you. And also working as a consultant to commissioners, I've been able to initiate such with the evaluator that is working, so that we are on the same page. So that's very important. It's important there is continuous coordination between both parties as implementation is ongoing. Yes, and this leads to, yes, we now have the data. We have all the data that is needed, as also agreed by the commissioner. So the evaluator has that, so you can proceed and quickly do a quick analysis, preliminary analysis. At times we share this as an evaluator. You share this with the commissioner, like, these are the preliminary results we're trying to get, but also to say that, yes, some commissioners are busy, so they might not necessarily need those, but I mean, I think it's also useful for the commissioners to have this, if the evaluators can present this as well. So then afterwards, the analysis and the visualization, just like what we did in week 3, where we had the data analysis and did a presentation. So such presentation can actually be quickly given to or sent to a commissioner. So it sends the report also. So I mean, it does a draft report from there. And in drafting the report, one thing an evaluator would want to do is to find a way to get to the beneficiaries that has been interviewed, that has been part of the evaluation, and in a sense, it might be a key ministry that is part of the implementing partner, right? Most times, not actually the primary beneficiaries, which is, yes, maybe people in the community or so, but maybe the ministry that is implementing the project. So, for example, if it's a school program now, yes, so you want to. So the implementing partner at that hierarchy, it might be the Ministry of Education or the agency responsible for basic education. So you want to also send them the draft report for them to see. And also it's the time to, you send them the draft and say, oh, this is where our thoughts are currently. If you think there's anything missing, please let us know, and we'll be happy to tweak it or come back and see what is proper or what can be done, or if there's a data missing from one person or a community or an individual, then we can have the conversation. So it sends it to the beneficiaries for review. Then he also sends the draft report. Then, so after getting the report, the review from the beneficiary in a timely manner anyways, is now sent it to the commissioner for review, the draft report. And so the commissioner looks at it. Yes, is this looking good in terms of content, in terms of structure, in terms of the analysis. So I mean, they're fine. Once they are fine with that, they send it back to you, and yes, they evaluate to the evaluator, and the evaluator then works on, if there's several reviews, it works on it and does a final report, and the report is being sent to the commissioner for the final one for approval. And they look at it again. Yes, it's everything looking fine in terms of structure. Was this what we agreed on as criteria and all that? And yes, and that's it in terms of the report. Unit 4 of this week would largely discuss about what's in an evaluation report, right? And also how to put in your evaluation report in a way that commissioners would use it. That's the essence of evaluation. Yes, them using commissioners using the recommendations by the evaluator. Um, so I mean, it's been approved. The commissioner would approve of the final report, and well, that's not the end of things. Um, the utilization phase, which is yes when uh, usage needs to start. The evaluator organizes a workshop with the beneficiaries. Don't forget, beneficiaries could be in ministries, department, agencies. It could mean the individuals that benefited from the program. So, but I mean, because your recommendation might have also involved recommendations for the ministries or the department or the agency of government, then you would want to have a meeting with them to discuss the recommendation and how to proceed about that. It's very important. And also maybe to get their feedback anyways on things that can be done. I could remember an evaluation that we had on water provision in a community in Nigeria. I mean, not even in the community. It's in about 7 states in Nigeria on water provision in rural communities. So it was focused on rural water supply, and we had this workshop on yes. We already have this recommendation. How do you want us to proceed? How do you think this will be useful, or the recommendations will be implemented? And well, I mean, we got feedbacks from this department and agencies of government in charge of water that maybe the way the report is, we will need to do another report out of this because this goes to the governor of the state. So we will need to channel this through another means, and also put the report in a proper perspective other than an evaluation report and send to the governor. So I mean, all these types of things can come out, and they tell you, oh, we can reach out to the special advisor. He will be the one we need to explain this to him so that he can explain to the governor. So I mean, all these kind of conversations come in, and they will be useful, especially for the use of the recommendations you put inside the report. That is the most important part of the evaluation report, because I mean, as evaluators, you are a change maker. We are change makers. So it is in these recommendations we want this change to happen. How it will now happen should also be a priority for us in some of these conversations, especially in the closing workshop. It's very, very important. So the same kind of workshop is also done with the commissioners. Remember, you're an independent evaluator, and as an independent or external evaluator, yes, so you also have recommendations for the commissioners, so which might be the bilateral agency, it might be the multilateral agency, it might be the government office, maybe on health, on social programs that is initiating the evaluation. So you also need to present to them as well, right, on the recommendations, what you think, and also consequences, what the recommendations means for the organization. So I mean, this kickstarts a conversation on utilization ideally, and you expect that yes, in the long run, this recommendation will be will be useful for the whole society, not only for the commissioners as well. So after that workshop, the evaluator, although I mean, most times this is not in several approaches or types of evaluation, this might not necessarily come in, but as an evaluator, your main goal is to also make sure that yes, recommendations are implemented. So even out of your contract, you still want to check up on the commissioner and say, oh, um, please, have you been able to implement these changes or the recommendations? We are also happy to help in making sure that the recommendations are being done. So, I mean, and that's the reason why in your recommendations, yes, you want to talk about what should happen in the short term, in the long term, in the medium term. So because change takes time to happen. So you want to consider what can be quickly done. And I mean, we will discuss this in our evaluation report in Unit 4 on how to put these things together. So, but it's your role as an evaluator to keep tab on the commissioner once in a while, actually, because in the real sense of things, I mean, once you conclude an evaluation, you've moved on to another one, and there's another one, and you're managing lots of people and moderators and partners. So I mean, but once in a while, it's good to check in and with the commissioner, and yes, I mean, at times difficult for the commissioners to do the implementation or looking for who would help with that. Maybe you can help with that as well, in the utilization phase. And yes, I mean, that concludes the phases of the evaluation. So you have the planning phase, the implementation phase, and the utilization phase. This is a summary of all that we've tried talking about. It's important to note that, yes, I mean, in the classroom, there's a sample timeline as well, which you can make use of. I mean, this is carved out of a proposal, very useful as well in one of our proposals. Anyways, which you can use in creating timelines. I mean, timelines are required also in proposals for evaluation, so you can make use of that. Can be very useful. So I mean, there's a planning phase. There's a planning phase where, yes, you plan how the evaluation looks like, who and who will be involved in the evaluation. And you have the implementation phase where, yes, field data collection, meetings with beneficiaries, communications, coordinations take place, and there's quality control checks and all during implementation phase. And you have the utilization phase where the evaluator strategizes on how recommendations from the evaluation report can be implemented. So those are the three key phases. It's important. I mean, you can take a look at the book by Stockman and Meyer, Functions, Concepts, and Methods of Evaluation. It's a good reference. We have this book already in the classroom as an essential reading. So I mean, you could get more knowledge and insights in all of these phases as well. So on that note, we'll be wrapping up this particular unit. If you stumbled on this video on YouTube and you would like to join the class itself, because in the class is where we do the real hands-on and back and forth with facilitators, and you have your templates, your toolkits as well, and also access to some of the most important resources. You can just sign up on this link to be part of the class, and also you can do an email to training@cloneshouse.com, or yes, I mean, give a phone call with just a phone call away and an email away as well. I hope this unit has been useful to you. I look forward to having us in the next unit. Please have a wonderful day.